There's a new children's book, Loving Lulu, that's helping little ones remember that there are different ways to express and communicate love to their grandparents, especially as they get older and may face things like dementia or Alzheimer's disease. And Awilda Prignano, the author, is here with us today. And Awilda, I have to tell you, number one, thank you so much. You sent me both versions, Spanish and English, of your children's book. And this is just, I adored this book. You know, it really touched home for me. We were just speaking. I had a grandmother with Alzheimer's, and it's hard to understand as kids, and going through something like this is hard as a child. Tell us a little bit about Loving Lulu. And, you know, you said your mother was diagnosed with dementia, right? And you took the role of being her caregiver.
Correct. So the story of Loving Lulu is actually inspired through my own journey with my mother as her caregiver. So obviously when a diagnosis such as my mom was actually diagnosed with Lewy body dementia. So it's like a lot of words, right? And even
Sure.
For a grown-up, it's overwhelming. So imagine what it's like for children. So my inspiration for this book just kind of came through my own journey, the challenges that I faced as her transition really progressed into the different phases of dementia. And what I found was, you know, there's a huge adjustment, obviously, for the patient who's been diagnosed, but also for the family as a whole, because really everyone is going through this experience together. So it's almost like you have to come together and try to figure out, well, how are we going to work through this new normal? You know, this person is still very special, very important to us. You know, they're valuable. They're here. They're still here. We're still blessed to have them. So it was important for me, especially with the experience with my mother, as she was going through these difficult challenges in her life, that she was still comfortable and that she still sensed that we were there for her, and she was still loved.
Amazing. And, you know, it is like you were saying, it's challenging. And you're talking about how coming together during this experience is really important. How would you explain maybe the dynamic between Lulu and her grandmother? And how can that teach children kind of how to maneuver through that difficult time that you've had to do with your mother?
Sure. So the story of Lulu, her mother works, so she spends a lot of time with her abuelita. The book is written bilingually, so there are little spices of Spanish in there. So she's not called grandma, she's called abuelita. And really, if you think about even your own experience with your own grandparents are the first teachers we have. They're the first mentors, role models. They help to create beautiful, special memories. And so with Lulu, she has all this quality time that she's been spending with her abuelita. And then suddenly she notices something's happening. And that's the thing about children, is they may not completely understand, but they're completely attuned to what's happening around them, especially when it's affecting someone that they care so deeply about and they love. So it was through her own determination that it was important for her abuelita to understand she still loved her. She remembered all of the things they did together and how really special and loved it made her feel. So It gave her the idea, well, these are the things we're going to do together when we go visit. And so through that, you know, it was through that aha moment, right, that it's not just about communicating through words, but it's also utilizing all of the senses that we're gifted with and what we see, hear, and feel. So that's kind of the lesson that we're teaching through the story of Loving Lulu. And just like you mentioned in your experience through reading it, my intent through writing it through a lens of a child was that I thought that was an important message to be learned and shared by adults as well as children.
Again, thank you so much for the books. And if you'd like to connect with Awilda, visit lovinglulustories.com or by visiting any of the social media platforms you see on the screen. Also, you can get her book, Loving Lulu, at her website or on Amazon.com. It's The Morning Blend. We'll be right back.